Alright, so I forgot to record the first bit of, but here it is. Basically, this is just a ball part mixed with a swing copter, and it's pretty cool. It just transitions in between the two, because swing copters are made by using dual portals and putting one of them out of sight. So it's pretty easy just to transition them in between the two. I thought it was pretty cool, so that's what we're making. We're going to continue this part. This part is going to be a little shorter than the last part, but it's still going to look amazing, and we're going to have it be really flowy just because of the way the gameplay is structured and all that. Yeah, so now that the part is actually done, we can start decorating it. Alright, so this time we're going to have somewhat the same decoration, except on the sides. We're going to have the dough coming in from the sides for the block design, and it's going to be kind of cool. Also, those, like, I don't know how you would describe them, the lines that go across are going to go entirely across instead of just in the middle of nowhere. We're going to have the same four steps for the decoration objects for the foreground. Those are actually just going to be different, as in they're going to be hazard blocks instead. You'll see what they'll look like in a minute. We're going to combine a lot of these blocks in here just to make it look kind of cool, I guess. So we're going to do that, some metallic blocks, obviously. We need some yellow in there, and we're going to add some glow as well, just because that looks sweet, I think. Yeah, so the blending glow really makes it pop a lot, and I like it. Okay, so now we're just scaling everything back to normal. We're going to put some glow right there just to fade it in to the object. Alright, so these pulse triggers are being set up, and so are these move triggers, and the reason for this is because we're using move groups in the same, like, pulse groups just to make it easier, but obviously we're gonna make them pulse different colors. Other than the foreground, I think we're gonna make that foreground color pulse white. It'll be pretty cool though. Oh yeah, we're also setting up these pulses for the foreground now because it just looks nice. So those pulses inside of the orbs will just activate when you reach them, which is kind of cool. Now we're just gonna continue decorating the rest of the level. Alright, so we're just adding layers and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's time to make, like, the foreground for the foreground, just some movement. This basically will add movement to the part, because this thing is gonna move up and down, kind of like that, gray and, magenta thing, if you watched the last episode, which you should, if you haven't already. Alright, so this is looking really nice. We need something behind it though, just to make it look nicer and kind of differentiate it from the blocks. We're also gonna have to relayer them. There's a lot of layers that we need to use on this, so we're just gonna have to, like, be really smart with how we use them. Yeah, so here we're just editing all these layers to make it so that this fits in properly with the area. We're gonna have to redo some of that glow. It's fine. Still looks the same. It'll just take more objects because those glow pieces have to be in different positions and they have to be smaller and stuff like that. But now, as you can see, it fits perfectly and it looks really nice. We're gonna extend it downwards probably and give it the groups that we need for it to move up and down with these move triggers. Yeah, so we're gonna test this out in a second, but I think it looks pretty nice with all the glow and the decoration that is inside there. I really like that. Yeah, so I think now we're just gonna keep doing the decoration process. Obviously we're gonna extend this down because it's gonna be moving quite high, probably like 4 blocks extra. Also, we're filling this in because I noticed that when you started this part, you could still see the bottom. So yeah, we have to add the colors and the layers properly, obviously. Yeah, we're just gonna continue doing the other blocks. Alright, same design all the way through the level. I think for the next part, which we will do next episode, we're going to change the decoration up quite a bit, because the next part is going to be a wave, probably, and that's going to require different structures, meaning like less blocky structures and more triangular structures, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, so we're going to probably change the saws and the arrows a bit, but we're going to use the same saws and arrows for this part, just to use it as a transition into the next little wave section, but we won't do that this episode. That's gonna be next episode. So yeah, just adding all of these elements in there properly, just where they fit in the most, just to make sure they look really nice. Also, we're gonna add some glow behind it to differentiate it from the background, which we're gonna build a custom background layer, and it's gonna be kind of a wavy effect, I guess. Yeah. So right here, we are covering the top part of the swing copter, the part that you don't want to see, in this foreground. And all this is going to be set to T1 because that makes it so that the player, if they're under it, they can't be seen, right? And you only need to see one player for this bit. And that's good. Alright, so just adding smart glow to the smaller pieces, just because it fits in more with the part. So yeah. Alright, so I'm continuing the design. Obviously, I'm gonna add a smart glow piece on there just to fit it in more with the object and the level. Yeah. We're also gonna keep the same colors throughout this entire level, just kind of like shade them differently sometimes, in case you're wondering. So yeah. Here we're just layering that more, and we're gonna have to relayer this to fit that other layering because it's on a different layer than the rest of the other foreground pieces, just because this had to go on top of the player. So yeah. Here we are just adding all these. I think it's kind of filled in more. We're gonna take some of them out like we just did. Yeah, time to add some arrows all through here. I'm thinking this looks pretty complete with a background and maybe another effect just to add more movement to the part. Yeah, I think we're gonna do those in a bit, but right now I just want to kind of relayer everything, do all of that stuff. Okay, so now we're just making the background lighter because the song kind of beats up here, so I noticed that the song kind of beats, like the beat of the song goes up here, so a lighter background to set the mood. We don't need a bunch brighter, just enough to where it's noticeable. We're gonna place a bunch of glow behind these portals and orbs to differentiate it from the background more, give it more depth to the level. That should be cool. Here we're gonna create a laser effect, and we're gonna create 2 of these, and they're gonna spin the opposite direction. This is really simple. You set up a bunch of alpha triggers, and rotate triggers. Basically, the alpha trigger just makes it so the opacity is different, whatever you set the group to specifically. This effect is really simple to set up, and if you want me to make a tutorial, just put that in the comments, because I know how to do quite a few effects that are really simple but look amazing. So if you want tutorials like that, please tell me down below. Okay, so we can now trigger this with all of these triggers that we made whenever we want. We're just gonna put them together, link them, and yeah. Also, we gotta like kind of move it around to fit the player, mostly just because of the swing copter, which is fine. Now that we've done that, we're gonna make the background. What we're gonna do is have a bunch of blocks, and every line for every 5 is gonna have its own custom group, and it's gonna be copied and pasted all along there and given its own little group. And basically, it's gonna move up and down based on that. And it's gonna be really wavy. It's gonna have a cool effect to it. I think we're also gonna make it lower opacity than that, just because we don't want it to be like the only thing you're looking at. That's the background, just to give it more depth. And also, we placed those squares on top of it to give it more a 3D effect, right? So what we're gonna do now is just continue a bit more design here, because I'm really happy with that background. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna show you the final part here, because otherwise the video would be a billion years long. So yeah, enjoy this part.